Hello all you awesome humans, I'm Katt Dee and welcome back to my channel. I'm here with another Wheel of TBR for this month. So I did Wheel of TBR for my first time last month and I really enjoyed it. It actually motivated me, I think, to read more because I felt like I had to get through the stack of books that I had. I was not successful, but I will tell you I did add a pretty big book to my TBR. And so I'm just going to go ahead and show you what I was supposed to read, and then I will show you the things that I did not finish last month. I'll have to add to June's TBR. On top of the fact that I'm doing the 8 spins, I'm also trying to take part in the Make Your Myth Taker. I chose the Path of the Goddess. Now, the thing with that is you have to read the books in the exact order of the path. If you're not familiar with the Make Your Myth Taker read-along, read-a-thon, read-a-thon, wow, words are hard. I will link the original video down below. It's kind of a complicated for me to describe, but basically, if you're into fantasy, into like making your own characters, your own stories, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, things that take imagination, you will love building your character. There's like 16 different character types, and it's just really interesting, and I can't wait to take part. So I'm going to be doing that as well. I'm going to try to work that into the wheel. And I'm going to stay, I've decided I'm staying completely on the goddess path. You do have the option to like switch paths within the readathon, but I'm staying in my one lane. So I just have to make sure the books that I choose, I have to read them in the order that they are on the path. So last month I had 8 spins, and I'm going to get the books together here and I'm going to show you. I completed 6 of the 8 books, but I completed 7 books total because I did read one off of my TBR, like that was not on my TBR. So these were the books that I was supposed to complete. So we have Harry Potter, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, Fables Volume 1, A Tale of Magic, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, Gemina, Descender Volume 2, and Death Note Volume 1. Out of these books, I did complete Death Note. I completed Descender Volume 2. One of my new favorite series of all time is the Illuminae Chronicles. I loved both of these books. I didn't think I was going to love this book as much as I loved Illuminae, but I mean, I equally loved these books. I am loving everything that Jay Kristoff has touched and put his hands on. I read the Nevernight trilogy this year already, and now I've read Illuminae and Gemina, which is by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. But it's really making me want to read everything that man writes. So there's that. I also read A Curse So Dark and Lonely. This is probably going to be in my top 10 this year. I can already tell you. I loved this. I loved retellings. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. That's really all you should know going into it. I really wouldn't go into too much detail about it. It is a loose-based Beauty and the Beast retelling. There is a beast. There is a somewhat beauty, I guess you could say. And the only problem I had with this book is there's a character in this book that suffers from cerebral palsy. I do not know enough about that to know whether or not that everything in this book is accurate. So I can't really speak to that part of it. It didn't really hinder the character too much. And she spoke about there being different degrees of it. But like I said, if you are someone who suffers from that or know someone who suffers from that and you read this, you might have some issues with it. But other than that, I thought it was really great. I was supposed to read A Tale of Magic and I did not get to it, but that's okay because I'm Make Your Myth Taker. One of the prompts is to read a book with foil on it, and this has silver foil on it. So regardless, this will be on my Make Your Myth Taker path as the book with foil on it. So this will be for June. I was also supposed to read Fables, and I did not get to this one. That's okay. It's just a graphic novel I'm adding for June. It's not too terrible. And then I was supposed to read A Heart So Fierce and Broken, which is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely. And absolutely love this one as well. I did not like it as much as I loved A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It does pick up right where A Curse So Dark and Lonely picks, like, like drops off, but you follow different characters in this book. You follow one of my favorite characters in this book. It's not a spoiler because you don't know who my favorite character is. So yeah, like I said, I gave Curse of Dark and Lonely a 5 out of 5. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. But they were two really easy books to get through. I flew through them. And I can't wait for the last, I think it might be the last one to come out. And I did read that Bridget Kemmerer she signed another, she has another book already coming out. Or signed another, she's already working on her next book series after this one. So this one is a trilogy, and she already knows what she's going to be writing next. So that's exciting. And then the last book that was a reread for me, but I read this one during the month to my son. And this was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And my son's only 5 months old, but it's good for you to read and pronunciate words to them. So we read this all month long, just, you know, a couple pages, a couple chapters every day. I probably enjoyed it way more than he did, but we did get through this. It's fairly short, and it was a very quick read, and I just love this series. So on top of those 8 books, the reason I didn't finish the other 2 books is I read Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is a chunker of a book. This is the 4th book, I believe, in the Throne of Glass series. And this has been my least favorite, which is probably an unpopular opinion. I think that this is a lot of people's favorite book, and I didn't love it as much as I love the other ones so far. I have a hate-love relationship with this series so far. I think I probably would have enjoyed this series if I had read it when I was younger. Like I loved her her other series, A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I'm really excited about picking up her adult book. And I loved Assassin's Blade. I read that before I got into the series. Assassin's Blade got me into the Throne of Glass series. And I loved Throne of Glass, but it's kind of been in decline from there. And I don't feel the need to keep going, but people keep telling me I need to finish it. So I will do my best, but I did finish this. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. All right, so I'm going to be spinning the wheel 8 times. Remember, I'm already going to have 10 books on this TBR. It's crazy, but that's okay because I'm doing a readathon and I'm working from home. So I have time as long as I make time for my child. So we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel 8 times. I have the other prompts here in the box. I added some more prompts this month. And basically, I'll spin the wheel, I'll take the prompt off, and I'll replace it. And then I'll tell you what book I chose for each prompt. So here we go. Spin number 1. And you might hear my child in the background. All right, so we got book challenge. Okay, so I explained this one as book challenge. I'm actually participating in 2 book challenges. I'm participating in the Pop Sugar Challenge, and I'm participating in the A to Z Challenge this year. So I will choose a book from one of those challenges, and then I'll let you know which one it's from and what I'll be reading. So for book challenge, I'm choosing the A to Z book challenge, and I'm going to be reading the letter D. So the A to Z book challenge is basically you have to read a book with every letter of the alphabet, either the title, or I believe you can use one of the author's first surnames. So I chose Day Tripper. This is a relatively new graphic novel in my collection. This is a graphic novel, and this one was sent to me by a friend, so thank you very much. So this will be the first book I have to read this month. So we're going to replace that prompt with under 350 pages. So that's self-explanatory. A book under 350 pages. All right, ready? Spin number 2. All right, we have a new author. Well, that's exciting. So this is basically not a brand new author, just an author I've never read before. And there's actually quite a few popular authors that I've never read before. Like I said, this was the first year I picked up a Jay Kristoff book, and I absolutely loved everything he wrote. So I'm hoping maybe I'll find a new favorite author. But here we go, new author. I'm going to find a book, and then I'll let you know. So for new author, I chose Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. I've heard so many good things about this. I've wanted to pick this up, and I just haven't had a chance yet, so now I have a really good reason to do so. I've heard that, I think this is called, I think this is like the Gray Coats or whatever, but anyway, it says Magic is a Con Game. This seems right up my alley. I don't want to know a whole bunch going into this. Some of my favorite booktubers really enjoyed this book, so I picked it up based off of their recommendation. And this book was actually a gift from me from my good friend Franklin. So I'm very excited to read this one as well. We're going to replace new author with one word title. Here we go. Spin number 3. TBR Vet. So this is basically just a book that's been on my TBR for a really long time. That shouldn't be hard. I have a lot of books. For TBR Vet, I chose Watchmen. I bought this one when I very first started my YouTube channel, and I was planning on picking it up. It is on the most, one of the best top 100 graphic novels of all time lists, and I'm a big list person. And my husband's read it. He loves it. It's by Alan Moore and David Gibbons, and I want to read it. I want to know what the hype's about. And yeah, so I have this really nice hardcover edition that my dog ate the corner of, but there we go. This is going to be my TBR Vet pick. So we're going to be replacing TBR Vet with Book Swap Book. Okay, so basically a book swap book is exactly what it sounds like. Is I'm in a group where we swap books with people, so I'm just going to be picking a book that I got from one of those book swaps if I land on this one. Spin number 4. Most recent purchase. I know exactly which one that is. So for my most recent purchase, I actually just bought this because, as you guys know, I've been talking about the Illumine and Gemina, how much I love that, and I wanted to continue with the series. Well, I don't actually own Obsidio yet, so I went ahead and purchased it. It is now my most recent purchase, so I will be reading that in the month of June, and I cannot wait. So we're going to replace most recent purchase with middle grade. Everyone loves a good middle grade. All right, spin number 5. Middle grade. I landed on middle grade. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Okay, I know exactly what I'm going to read for this, and it was just sent to me, and I'm so excited about reading it. So for middle grade is another gift I got from someone. Let me see if I left it in here. Nisha. So thank you, Nisha. This is at Nevermore, and this is the Trials of Morgan Crow. I've heard such amazing things about this book. I basically think that I think what it's about, don't get me wrong, is basically I'm just going to read the back of it. I'm not even going to pretend to know. But it says, born in eventide, the unluckiest day of any child to be born, Morgan is blamed for all local misfortunes, and worst of all, the curse dooms her to die at midnight on her 11th birthday. But as Morgan awaits her fate, a remarkable man named Jupiter North appears, whisking her into a safety of a secret magical city called Nevermore. It's in Nevermore that Morgan discovers she must contend for a place in the city's most prestigious organization, the Wondrous Society. Morgan must compete in 4 dangerous trials against hundreds of other children, and she'll have to confront her deadly fate. I love competition books. I love anything that deals with trials. I loved the Hunger Games. I loved Throne of Glass. That's why I really liked Throne of Glass. I liked Divergent, even though it wasn't like really a trial thing. They were competing in the first book. Just she was competing in order to become Divergent. I'm not Divergent. Whatever. Dauntless. She had to compete to be Dauntless. Anyway, so I cannot wait to read this. I'm super, super, super excited, and I'm so glad that middle grade came up because I was probably going to read this anyway. So thank you again, Nisha, for sending this my way. All right, we're going to replace middle grade with travel. So my travel is basically anything that's set out of the United States. I think we got this one last time. So here we go. Spin number 6. Sci-fi. I do know exactly what I'm going to read for this one, and you guys aren't going to be surprised with everything that I've been telling you. So for sci-fi, you're probably not surprised. I actually chose Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I think I'm going to read everything that Jay Kristoff has written. I think that's my goal this year. I think he is one of my new favorite authors. So I have to give Amy Kaufman some credit because Illuminate and Gemini are amazing. So I'll be reading 2 books from them. So there we go. Aurora Rising will be one of the books I pick up this month. And I'll tell you this one's about. It says, this is the year 2380, and the graduating cadets of Aurora Academy are being assigned to their first missions. Star pupil Tyler Jones is ready to recruit the squad of his dreams, but his own boat-headed heroism sees him stuck with the dreads nobody else in his academy would touch. So basically, he is stuck with the C Squad. So I'm very excited to see what this one dives into. And I know Aurora Burning is already out, and I think there's going to be one more. So excited about that. Okay, we're going to replace sci-fi with YA fantasy. All right, spin number 7. Adult fantasy. All right, we'll pick a book for that. So for adult fantasy, I picked this big, giant book. I picked Sarah J. Maas's House of Earth and Blood, Crescent City. Don't really know what the exact title of this is. It Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, House of Earth and Blood, whatever it is. This is the book that I'm reading, or that I'm going to read this month. I'm really, really excited. I don't want to know anything going into this. This is her first adult novel. And like I said, I loved her A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I loved the first part of Throne of Glass. Like I said, Queen of Shadows was my least favorite. But you're not going to love everything that someone writes. I still love the concept of, and I still love the characters in Throne of Glass. So I will finish that eventually. I've been finishing that at my own pace. I might pick another one up like I did in the month of May, but we'll see. This month, I definitely want to pick up Sarah J. Maas's this book right here, this pretty book, which was also another gift. So I got a book mail and book gifts because of everything that's going on right now. But I think people want to make sure that I have enough to read. We're going to replace adult fantasy with short read. All right, last spin. Short read. This wheel is so weird. Okay, so there we go. So maybe I'll find a graphic novel. Short read is anything under 250 pages. So for my last spin, I got short read, and for that I chose Injection, which was actually just sent to me by Jeslyn. Thank you so much, Jeslyn. And this graphic novel is super short. It's probably less than 150 pages. Super, super short. I don't know anything about it. I know, I think I saw another booktuber read this, or it was on some list, so I put it on my wish list, and it was kindly gifted to me. So that is going to be my short read this month, and thank goodness, because with the other two books that I hadn't read, I have a lot to read this month. And we're going to replace short read with continue a series. So those were the 8 books that I had to read because of my spins. I'm going to go through the prompts for Make Your Myth Taker. I have to read these in order. Like I said, I'm following the goddess path. I'll show you the path right here. So that is going to be, I'm going to have to read 4 books, and I'll show you them. So the first one is to read a book with a non-human character or non-human main character. For that one, I'm going to use Fables, which I did not read in my previous month. This has a lot of characters, and a lot of them are not human, so this might be cheating, but this is going to be the book that I choose for the non-human main character. And for the next one is foil on the cover, and I'm going to be using the book again that I did not read last month. And I'm going to be reading The Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer, because I have to read these 2 books anyway. All right, so Goodreads. Let me see what is the top rated on my Goodreads, and I'll be right back. The highest rated on my Goodreads is Words of Radiance, which is the second book in the Way of Kings series. I haven't read Way of Kings, so I'm going to have to put Way of Kings on my TBR this month. I haven't read anything by Brandon Sanderson. I know that I've been reading The Wheel of Time. I'm currently slowly reading the second book. But I know he finishes the Wheel of Time series. So The Way of Kings will be the first thing that I pick up that's actually just by Brandon Sanderson, and it's not really where I wanted to start. I really wish I would have started with something else, but I haven't updated my Goodreads in a long time, so there you go. So I'll be reading Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Hopefully I can get through a big portion of that, if not all of it, in the month of June. So the last one was to randomize your TBR, and there was nothing that I could do to fit anything that I already had that worked with my randomization. So basically, I just randomized I had a number generator. I picked a number on Goodreads, and I came up with a number. I think it was number 632 or something like that. And that book came up with 10. So I don't really know much about this one. This was another gift. I have the gift thing in here. This was from Alyssa, so thank you so much, Alyssa. I loved the premise of this book, so I put it on my wish list. I'll read it to you. It said it was supposed to be the weekend of their lives. 3 days on Henry Island at the exclusive house party. Best friends Meg and Minnie each have their own reasons for wanting to be there, which involve their school's most eligible bachelor, TJ Fletcher, and they look forward to 3 glorious days of boys bonding and fun-filled luxury. But what they expect is definitely not what they get. Suddenly people are dying, and with the storm raging outside, the teens are cut off from the rest of the world. No electricity, no phones, no internet, and a ferry that isn't scheduled to return for days. As the deaths become more violent and the teens turn to one another, can Meg find the killer before more people die, or is the killer closer to her than she imagined? So I love this. I love me a mystery. It's kind of a short read, which I feel I lucked out on that because my TBR is ginormous. So I'm going to hold up all these books. Oh, June. Oh. Okay, so these books plus Obsidio, that's not here yet, are the books. Oh, and Way of Kings are the books that I'm going to be reading in the month of June, hopefully. So wish me luck. That's my TBR. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you're going to be reading down below. I'm Katt Dee, guys. comment, and subscribe. Bye.